Hello, everybody. It's Thursday. So, yeah, today I haven't had the greatest day. I'm going to tell you why. In order to heal, sometimes you have to go back and look at your patterns and see why something triggers you, right? And I had to do that today. So I had to search my soul and look at situations that I don't like to revisit, to be honest with you, because they're painful and horrible. But I have to allow myself to mourn those things and in order to let them go. Because I think sometimes we carry stuff because we weren't able to mourn it or to let it go in a healthy way. So we hold it all in. So it's good to go back and kind of figure out what that is, because that way you recognize it when you see it. Now, I was severely abused as a child, and I see how that has affected me into now, how that has affected me mentally, physically, the people that I've been in relationship with before. And it's just, we really have to start normalizing talking about having a hard time with your kids, because I think there's a lot of young moms out there, or there's a lot of people that are not ready to have children. They really are not. They're not equipped for it. And it doesn't help when the society shames them. And, we have a whole debate in this country about letting people making them have a baby if they get pregnant. And I'm going to tell you that is very conflicting for me. Because I don't understand how you can force people to have babies and then leave them high and dry with nobody to go to other than when they finally get in trouble with children's services, and that's a whole nightmare. So people are scared to even ask for help with a therapist because it could bring in children's services. And I'll tell you that if there is something that you're having problems with as a mother and that you need some advice, feel free to message me. I will help you. But we gotta stop looking the other way when people are abusing their children. We really do. You don't know the damage that you cause your children and their children and their children. It's like a never-ending nightmare, It's so sad. It's so sad. I think about it, and sometimes I'll look like the story that my aunt was telling me, and that meant a lot to me, because she was telling me that unfortunately it was out of her hands, but that she always felt really sad she couldn't help me because I was severely abused. And but in Mexico they have a show when I was little. It was called the Tío Gamboín, and it was kind of like this variety show. But at the end of the show, they would show pictures of kids that were missing, and I always remembered seeing myself on TV while I was staying at somebody's house. So I had asked her if I was crazy or did that happen. And she told me, yeah, that happened. See, I was so severely abused as a kid that I would take off at 5 and 6 years old. And I would disappear for days, for long periods of time, because I hated going home. And I've always been a smart mouth, and I've always been me. I always tell the truth. And, you know, I think by now I understand, you know, nobody wants to hear the truth. And I think until I was much older, I was able to put a filter on it or learn to be quiet. But before that, it was like a shit show. I'm not gonna lie. Even now, sometimes I'm like, don't say it, girl. You better be quiet. But child abuse is a serious problem. It is. And it's devastating for generations to come. We really gotta push for something better for our kids. I was not a great mom to my kids. I didn't have no sense of what mothering was because I didn't have one. And so I think I dropped the ball myself. But I see how I worked a lot, and I did the best I could. And I did it with all my heart, and I love my children, and I see myself in them. They're like better versions of me. I'm so proud of all my kids. I really am. I love my children. I think that's the reward in this life is my kids. And, you know, my family, my husband, my dogs, my cats, and the people that love me. But when you go through abuse so early, it really changes you. And it makes you guarded, it makes you angry. You know, because you gotta understand, I will look at a kid that's 6 years old and think, oh my gosh, how bad was it that I would take off and get in the metro and go all the way to, like, it's kind of like going from the valley to downtown LA by yourself. Because I was so unhappy. And I did it multiple times. And yeah, I was on that show. I remember that because I was sitting outside of a store and it was closed in Mexico City by myself, 6 years old, and this little boy walked up to me, and it was the most amazing little family. They were a young family with a little boy, and he said, what are you doing here? And I said, I'm waiting for my dad. And he told his parents, and his parents picked me up. But they hadn't heard anything about a kid missing because I'm like all the way on the other side. And so what ends up happening is that we're watching the kids show, and sure enough, my picture popped up. I always thought it was kind of like a weird memory. But at the same time, like, dang, I got on that show. That's the ego right there. But yeah, no, you know, I know that I say that being at peace is the most beautiful thing. But for peace, you got to go through some pain. And I'm going to tell you, it's okay. It's okay to revisit those things. It's okay to put them to rest. And just be aware. But we really have to start getting together on that. The child abuse issue. Because I think people just really need more support. Rather than being terrified they're just going to rip their kids away. Because I think a lot of abuse happens because people are not, they don't know what to expect, and it's a lot. So anyway, that's what a healing journey is. You guys have a good night, and tomorrow I will tell you how I'm going to give those things away. I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.